I can go anytime.
All right, we're live. We are live. Emergency post game here. He's Jim Dunaway. I'm Ryan Brown. We know Auburn-Arkansas is not over, but it is about to be. Arkansas has the ball inside the 20 after the
First
2-minute
down.
warning.
First down.
Yeah, first down, and they can kneel it out. Well, Auburn's got 3 timeouts. They cannot kneel it out from here, but this thing's over. This is a devastating loss for Auburn, Jim. Absolutely devastating loss. At one point, we thought Auburn could potentially be 5-0 going to the Georgia game. They are now 2-2. We'll see what Oklahoma does tonight against Tennessee. But they've got their hands full. They have no quarterback play. Their defense is not very good. This is just a bad football team.
Yeah, I mean, I would start with the fact that you use 2 quarterbacks, and I sort of hinted at that during the week. Now, I thought Peyton Thorne would come in and win the football game, and for a while he did not play very badly. I thought the defense has played well in this game for a little bit until you get a rush 3 long yardage situation. You give up a touchdown over behind 8 guys dropping back, and it makes no sense. It goes back to the Gravedigger 4th and 31 last year in the Iron Bowl. I think you pointed out same end of the field. But it's mind-boggling that you rush 3 and you let somebody get behind you. And then with the quarterback situation, everyone was watching this week. What would Hank Brown look like against better competition? And it's not Georgia, it's not Oklahoma's defense, it's not Bama, it's not Texas, but it's an SEC team. And there were some interceptions. Some were just balls not caught, tips, and some were bad throws, bad decisions. And then Peyton, has one. Austin fumbles going to the end zone. It's just about anything you could imagine that you could do wrong to not beat a team that you should be better than talent-wise. It happened today.
Let's get some reaction. We know the game's still going on, but the clock's just running at this point. Alex says Auburn will never be competitive with current quarterback play and cornerback play, QB and CB. Their secondary is not good. We told you in the pregame show they are dead last against the pass in the Southeastern Conference. I don't know if that's going to change after today. Maybe it does statistically, Jim, but you watch that pass defense. They're not very good in their secondary. Taylor Green's not a great quarterback, and he far from carved them up, but they just made bad plays.
Yeah, right now, 12 of 27, 151 with 2 interceptions himself.
Yeah.
And a touchdown throw on that, rush 3 situation, and you let somebody get behind you, which I will hang on to the day I die. That just cannot happen. You can't play a situation like that and let anyone be behind you ever. We're dropping 8. There's plenty of people up front of us. Nobody goes behind us. That's mind-boggling. But yeah, your points there on the secondary. I thought they played well early on, but this is not the best passing attack they're gonna face.
Far from it.
I do think we got to make a point early on of there's 3 things I wanted to bring up to start with.
Okay.
I mentioned 2. The other one was a horrendous non-holding call on what ended up being the game deciding touchdown drive. Third down coming up here, so the game's not over. Miracles do happen at Jordan Hare.
Are you talking about where they flipped Asante, where the back flipped Asante and Hugh Freeze lost his you-know-what?
Yeah. I mean, he wraps his arm around him below his waist and throws him down on the ground. It could be either holding or it could be roughing. The personal foul, unnecessary roughness for slamming him into the ground. Choose one of those penalties, and maybe they don't drive and score a touchdown there. So Auburn's gonna get a field goal situation here probably from Arkansas, and then see where that goes, depending on where you're watching it.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, man, these things are moving so fast. It's hard to.
That's what happens in emergency news conference.
I know, in the old emergency post.
While you look for one, let me tell everybody that we're going to fill a little time here, but then we want to encourage you to go over to thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. Kyle and the gang over there will be breaking it down 6 different ways until Sunday, including on Sunday, where they'll do more wrap-up from the locker room. And stay on our platforms here, because Taylor Korn and Emily Grace McWhorter are there. They've been giving you pictures and sounds all day long, and they will give you that stuff throughout the night, including the post-game reaction.
Elton says, what about the freeze 4? Cam Coleman's been a little bit disappointing. I mean, his hands aren't great. That's 2 passes he could have easily caught to help his quarterback out. And when your quarterback's struggling the way they are, you've got to help out as a receiver, and both those turn into interceptions. And a little bit of gator arms on that one today, and that was not Peyton Thorne's fault. Far from it. That ball was easily catchable for a receiver.
I'm a big fan of Roddy White on the broadcast there, the analyst of this broadcast.
Ronnie Brown? Oh, no. Okay, I'm sorry. Roddy
Yeah.
Jones. Roddy Jones.
Roddy Jones. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Roddy Jones, big fan of his. And I don't know what position he played.
Running back.
Running back. So he's a running back. He made it sound like that he maybe loafed a little bit on that route, and that's why it wasn't right in his hands. He had to reach a little bit, but then Hugh absolutely in the quarter interview says, we got to catch that ball. We got to catch that ball. But you got a former player up there saying, like a lot of young receivers do, they don't run at your normal pace, even when they have an opening there, and the quarterback is throwing it where he thinks your normal pace is. And then if you haven't been digging it through the whole route, you're going to be a step off. And that's what that looked like there from the young receiver.
Matthew says, this is embarrassing. Auburn might be the worst team in the conference, looking at 3 to 4 wins. If you had penciled in automatically the Vandy win, you go ahead and erase that one. I know they dropped the game at Georgia State, but Vandy right now has gone to the fourth quarter. It is 20-20. Missouri has the ball and they're in Vandy territory, but Jim, 20-20. Vandy playing with number 7 Missouri right now in Como in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's far from a given win right there.
Yeah, that is in Jordan-Hare. It's not on the road in Nashville, right? It's back in Jordan-Hare, I believe.
Yeah. But I mean, that game I'm watching to Columbia, and they're still 20-20.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to remember where that was on the schedule. Not that that's intimidating, but a really intimidating place to go play. But
sure.
Yeah, I was just.
Jelf says Mississippi State is worse by far. Yeah, State's bad.
They are
bad. Yeah,
they are.
I don't know. I mean, neither of these teams are any good, Arkansas or Auburn. I don't know where, if you do power rankings, where this shakes out. What do you do? I mean, you stick with Thorne now, don't you?
No, that's what we brought up this week on the next round. Is last year it was, and I said it word for word, and this isn't a shot at anybody. I'm not taking a shot at Hugh here, but we said it on the show last week that last year it was Monty called the plays, and then I'm going to take over the play calling, and then Monty was calling, and you get rid of Monty, you're going to be the play caller this year. And then I said, I got to see Hank Brown in this game to know if he's the starter the rest of the year. My feeling is we will see Peyton Thorne in this game, and we did. And I think now this will start a very, very troublesome carousel, if you're not careful, of who's quarterback and who's not quarterback. I don't even know if you can compare it to what Florida's on now with Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway, but they're on that too. Billy Napier is sort of saying, this is our quarterback of the future. I'm going to give him meaningful time. Maybe that's what Hughes says and he wants to do. I think I would go with Peyton Thorne and try to win a bunch of football games this year, keep momentum and keep the great wide receivers happy. But, I'm not in practices every day.
All caps from Bobby here, saying that Freeze tried to get a quarterback in the portal. Grayson McCall didn't have the transcripts. By the way, you better be glad he didn't. I'm not sure that's a huge upgrade. Did you watch him today, Grayson McCall?
Yeah,
they're bad.
He has not been the same since he wasn't with Jamie Chadwell anymore and at Coastal Carolina. He had an injury. I can't remember what it was to, but he has not been the same since that injury, since he came back. He was really good early in his career, not great, sort of like Tyler Van Dyke, who was Miami to Wisconsin. But there were people that were out there that looked pretty good, like Eli Holstein. I don't know when Eli left Alabama and went to Pitt, but he's a portal guy who has looked fantastic in the first part of this season so far.
Yeah, I was going to pull up Riley Leonard's numbers today. I watched just a little bit of that game. That was a pretty bad game, 28-3 they won. Riley Leonard, 16-25, 154. He's not setting the world on fire in Notre Dame either. Now, Cam Ward, if you paid $2 million for Cam Ward, you got your money's worth, I think, as of right now.
And that becomes the debate. If you're not going to spend money on quarterback, which has talked about the price of a quarterback and is it worth it, then until you recruit your quarterback, then this is the quarterback play you may get. Remember, Peyton is also a portal quarterback. You don't have to have Cam Ward. Riley Leonard may be better with better coaching, on the offensive side and better receivers. than he is at Notre Dame. You don't know what a guy looks like at one place, what he would look like with more talent around him or different coaching in a different situation.
Do you have on Michigan USC right now, by the way?
I do. 24-20 Michigan driving. I got
Yeah,
it 47 seconds.
Yeah, Alex Orji they just ran a pass play down on 2nd and goal. Where are they, on the 4? And Alex Orji, I mean, he overthrew this ball by 40 feet. This guy cannot throw to save his life.
I'm over the air, Brownie. So that was it's about to be a 4th and goal as that one gets stopped short. So 41 seconds, 4th and goal for the win in that one. USC taking the timeout, by the way.
It is. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess, time's not an issue here. Michigan's not going to run out of time. So you got to conserve some for you, obviously.
Final down on the Plains now.
If you get the ball back. Yeah, 24-14. Sam Pittman staves off the firing squad, and Hugh Freeze about to have to answer some really difficult questions about quarterbacks and quarterback play. You don't have any good options. I mean, Peyton Thorne played better than Hank Brown. You can't deny that. But it's just not good no matter which way you go. 5 turnovers. I mean, they're not going to win a single conference game. They turn it over 5 times. The Alston fumble, that's not just a fumble. That was going to be 7 points. Potentially. I mean, he's about to score on the run there. You're going to have 1st and goal. It's worst case 3. I mean, this team is so sloppy. I just don't see how it's gotten this bad.
Yeah, that motivated Arkansas team on the defensive side of the football. I just saw T. Will very excited, and several Auburn players walking over and hugging, T. Will. He was their coach over there on the defensive side. Some they know him. He recruited some of them, and that was a emotion. He's been emotional all day long. So a big win for T. Will at Arkansas. Michigan gets that touchdown, so they have taken the lead. Yeah.
Wow. So Auburn loses. Let's go. Jake says, just shows you last week Hank Brown really did mean nothing for them going forward. I don't know what you got out of it, honestly. I mean, I think if Peyton Thorne starts today's game, I don't think it goes as bad. That's just, I don't know how you say that, Dunaway, but I don't think it does. I mean, I don't think Peyton Thorne, he did against Cal, but I don't know that he throws those 3 interceptions. Those are like the one right before the half. I don't know if it was actually an interception or not, but it was an awful throw. It's just a poor decision. Hank Brown just put the ball in harm's way too much today.
Oh, and the one out in the flat, which I think was the second interception.
Yeah.
That's just a young quarterback not seeing. And it happens to the best quarterback sometimes. But at that situation, that was bad. Peyton ended up 13 of 22, 213. But that's going to be skewed by the long 67-yard touchdown that Keandre Lambert-Smith had on that, 4th down on the 30-something that Hugh, I guess the 33, if it was 67 yards, Jim, use your head. On his own 33 with the game in the balance, and he went for it on 4th down, and it turned into a slant for a touchdown. And that's when you thought, okay, Auburn's about to come back and win the football game, and it didn't happen that way. I'm looking at Fairweather. He had 4 catches for 40 yards. People would like to see him get the ball. Cam Coleman, the great Cam Coleman, 2 catches, 15 yards. I don't have the targets in front of me here. What kind of targets he got.
I don't know what happened on the fake punt either. The way Hugh Freeze reacted, it seems like maybe the punter, Oscar Chapman's got an automatic there and must have misread that automatic. Is that kind of the way you read that, the way Hugh Freeze reacted? Hugh Freeze could not have called that play, right? I mean, that was a terrible time for a fake punt and a poorly executed one at that, right? I mean, but there again, if Oscar Chapman has a read, I don't know what he saw there because it was far from open.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's there. I think you can pick apart the tape as they will do.
Yep.
And have 100 things that you can't account for when this is over with. That you're going to look at it and say,
yep.
Why did I do that? And maybe some of the coaches will be like, why did we call that? Why we're in that situation? This is one of those that you just can't. You can't put your finger on. We expected it to be a competitive game. I don't think, we're sitting here thinking Auburn was going to win this by 21, right?
I thought it was going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah. I thought, EG asked me before the game, what do you think the score is going to be? I said Auburn 37, Arkansas 31. What was it, 0-0 after 1?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
And
neither offense was great, or either both defenses were good. However you want to look at it.
and the Hank Brown interception before the half. Now Auburn turned right back around and picked off another pass. I just thought that was Hugh Freeze being a little greedy right there. It was 7-0. You had played awful. You were so fortunate to be down 7-0 at that point. I thought you just run and go to the locker room. Puts it in Hank Brown's hands. Obviously, still showing faith in him, and Brown throws that pick. Not the one right before the half, the one before that, and then Auburn gets the pick right back. So just a that was very, very messy. This is a Bama fan. I'm sure this is what Auburn fans want to hear. Hugh better own this loss, or we'll lose the fan base and the team. Listen, he's had a history of rolling players under the bus and assistant coaches under the bus. Dunaway, I don't know how you do that today, right?
No, other than one play, DJ Durkin's defense played better. Um, um, that secondary's got to go into the meeting room and explain to DJ Durkin how we were rushing 3, we were dropping 8, how we let one guy get behind us for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That was a game changer in my opinion. But I think you got to think, to me anyway, DJ Durkin's defense was a little bit better today.
NH3425 says Lambert Smith's the only consistent offensive player right now. I kind of agree with that. And it looked like he was playing hurt a lot. He and Fairweather are the best 2 receivers Auburn has right now. I think those are the only 2 guys you can really depend on if you're Thorne or Hank Brown, is Lambert Smith and Fairweather. Those guys catch everything you throw to them, and they find ways to get open.
I think Jarquez Hunter's the most consistent thing. For some reason, for some reason, they only want to give it to him 12 times.
Doesn't make sense, does it? You heard Roddy Jones, your guy Roddy Jones, like, man, if he doesn't touch it 15 more times this game, something's wrong.
Yeah, 12 carries for 67. Meanwhile, Demario Alston, who had 3 carries for 38, by the way, don't mind giving him a few more carries. Hank ran it twice. Peyton ran it 5 times. Malcolm Simmons ran it twice. Oscar Chapman and Jeremiah Cobb had carries as well. So, Hunter and Alston in there, and 15 carries between the 2 of them. 26 total run plays. Some of those are quarterbacks deciding to run with the football. And 35 pass plays. Not a lot of plays, by the way.
Bobby, not safe for work here. Jarquez can't hold on to the blinking football. How is he the most consistent? That is another issue. I mean,
yeah, that was Austin that fumbled, though, right?
It was, but I mean, Jarquez has had his share of fumbles this year too, and that's the alarming thing is your quarterbacks aren't just throwing interceptions like they're Pez dispensers. Your running backs are turning the ball over too. And now Arkansas did their fair share of turnovers, but at one point, there were so many turnovers in this game, it's going to be hard for me to remember. I think it was after the second interception, Auburn was up to -11 on the season in turnover margin. And they are nowhere near talented enough to win games at -11 on turnover margin.
-3 today, because Arkansas had 2 and Auburn had 4 interceptions and 1 fumble.
Yeah. Let's see. Elton, we just turned the ball over and over. He's right about that.
I mean, if you look at it, you've got what is this? 61 plays by my count here. 61 plays in a football game. It went very fast, and you turned it over 5 times.
Yeah.
5 times.
Yeah. Yellow Cake says, funny, he thought Thorne was actually the bright spot on offense. You gave the numbers, and look, I do realize you had a long catch and run on that one. But he only threw the 1 pick, and that was not his fault. I don't think he was that bad, really. I don't think he was that bad.
If you're just judging nothing in practice, nothing ever before, clean slate, Peyton Thorne looked like your quarterback tonight compared. And I'm not just saying that to try to get him back on our show teasing. I really think that he looks like the better quarterback, which is why last week was, mind-boggling to me. That, I mean, obviously, if you think Hank Brown's the future, you want to get him seat time, but the switch and making it sound instantly afterwards like he had gone out and, spotted up the 85 Bears and picked them apart. Hey, well, Hank's our starter next week. Hank's our starter. Right. Well, he did start, and at halftime you made the switch, and Peyton ended up looking better. Listen, I know it's Arkansas, and there'll be better defenses ahead, but compared to New Mexico, the game is just that much faster. I think there was one of the interceptions that was a window that probably was a completed pass for 15 yards against New Mexico. Yep. In between 3 players. In the SEC, even if it's the bottom of the SEC, that's a knockdown, incompletion, or an interception. And today it was an interception. I mean, not that Hank. I mean, Hank in that first drive, that before that interception, he threw some beautiful balls, and I was like, man, this kid does look good. I mean, he has a great arm. Threw one out on the outside, on the near side, laid it out low. Only his guy can make a play. That's an NFL throw, and you can see the I think the gear that Hank has that Peyton doesn't have. Like you
No,
can look at
yeah.
Hank Brown, and he's got a little pop and a little throw that Peyton doesn't have. And that's why, it's a little eye candy that you're like, okay, let's give this kid a chance. And I'm not saying you don't play him anymore. You just have to be comfortable in yourself to say, hey, we're going to be two quarterbacks. We're going to work both
Yeah.
of these guys in because, this year isn't going to be the end all be all of my time at Auburn. And if Hank Brown is my future, I need to get him in here. But I also need to win some football games to keep momentum going recruiting. So let's play two of them.
USC just came up short on a 4th down attempt, so Michigan is going to win that game. Surprising win right there for me, anyway. That number's dropped all week long. Just should have paid attention to that.
Ooh, you may have.
Clay,
Well, that is short.
yeah,
I was going to say you
he's a
may have
yard
spoke too
short.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clay says Peyton. AU Clay says Peyton is the QB. Blake says if Auburn goes 6-6 or worse, will Freeze be on the hot seat next year? Yes, is the answer to that.
Well, I mean, you got a big boy job, and
Yep,
if you're
that's it. Paying a
six
lot of
and
money.
what was it, 6-7 with an embarrassing loss? You almost
Yep.
beat your two rivals, but an embarrassing loss in the bowl game in New Mexico State. And then this year, if you go 6-7 again, or 6-6 again, maybe 7-6, depending on how it goes in the bowl, then I think that's what you've had the last couple of years. And it's all about recruiting, though, man. And Hugh's good at recruiting so far. If he does it again with this class, what are they, 4th right now?
Yeah.
The rankings in recruiting. I mean, heck, if you get a top 5 recruiting class, I mean, sooner or later, Auburn's what are they, top 15 all time program. They've won a national championship, since back in 2010. They played for another since then. If you get that kind of recruiting class, back to back years, 2-3 years in a row, you'll stop losing games like this, and eventually the talent will catch up, and you'll start being really competitive again. So
Marcus is out of
I lean to good recruiting sometimes over being quick to hot seat it.
Marcus is out of excuses. He says Auburn has regressed. Do you feel like they've regressed?
Regressed from last year of Hugh or from Brian Harsin?
That's a good question. Have they regressed from last year? I don't know that they've progressed any. Maybe they haven't regressed, but I don't know they've gotten any better. Do you?
I would put them at the same level. Just they're more talented in one place and they're less talented in another place. But Brian Harsin didn't recruit, right?
He didn't
recruit. No, at least didn't do it well. Hugh Freeze does recruit, and so I'll say it again. I will go 6-6 with a recruiter instead of 6-6 with not a recruiter.
Yeah.
That's why Hugh Freeze would not be on my hot seat next year, because he's bringing in talent, and eventually the talent is what wins games.
T. Rice says, I'm an Auburn fan, said it last week, 3-9, 4-8 at best. That team today is 3-9. That is a 3-9 football team playing today. If they, now that's you're not going to turn it over 5 times every game, but that was a 3-9, 4-8 team playing today. Can they improve from that? I just don't know, because I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. I think we know what Peyton Thorne is. Given time and experience, could Hank Brown improve? Yeah, but you don't have that luxury, Jim. Your next 2 games are Oklahoma and Georgia.
Oh, Oklahoma, Georgia, Missouri, Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, you have no luxury to do that with Hank Brown. Yeah. I think today was the only opportunity for Hank Brown. I think if he did what he did today, you had to go back to Peyton Thorne and just bite the bullet and do that, unless it just gets so miserably bad. You got to bring Brown back in, but there's no room now for Brown to try to pick this up on the fly. You just hoped he was good enough against New Mexico and could carry it over today, but he wasn't.
Yeah, the next 2 games are against defensive minds that are elite. Brent Venables and Kirby Smart and their coaching staffs. I know they'll tell you our DC calls the plays, blah, 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 and all that. But there are elite defensive minds. They don't always put out a defensive effort, but they will absolutely throw some stuff on the board, and you'll have to read and react to it. And maybe you feel like Hank Brown can go out there and It'll be a great educational moment to go against those two great defensive minds. You'll never see anything better schematically than the next two games you play. So maybe there's some harvest to be had there by having Hank Brown in the game there. But if you're trying to win the football game, it's got to be Peyton Thorne.
Yeah. Chris says, though, and Auburn fan here, even recruits are freshmen, though. I mean, I know what you're saying, Dunaway, but you're bringing in guys that can't, participate right away, right? I mean, they're not going to help you right away.
Well, I mean, they have to in this situation. You're expecting so much from these receivers, and you've got to have some success because these receivers are, on the recruiting boards, were so sought after by so many schools. Like you're crazy if you don't think Cam Coleman's phone will be ringing from a family member or an agent or a friend who is going to be saying, hey, so and so talked to so and so who talked to this SEC school that said you wouldn't be in the situation you are right now if you had so and so throwing you the passes. You'd have 500 yards and 6 touchdowns right now, plus this big bag of money right here. So I mean, it won't be a coach calling Cam Coleman, but it'll be a coach calling somebody who's calling somebody who calls somebody who calls Cam Coleman, or any of the young freshman receivers that are there. So you got to keep positivity and momentum going in today's modern football, or you end up in Isaiah Bond. I mean, Isaiah Bond was on a team that was in the playoffs. Whenever the person from Texas called somebody who called somebody who called somebody who called somebody, that was probably well before the 4th and 31 Gravedigger.
Yeah.
Right. That was probably mid-season somewhere. Yeah. And then now he's already, by the time they end up in Pasadena, he's already shipping stuff. He's going to Pasadena while he's shipping stuff to Austin, and that's the way it is nowadays.
Yeah. Bobby, in all caps again, anyone saying Auburn's going to be 3-9 can't read a schedule. There's 2 guaranteed wins left. After those 2, I got nothing. I assume he's talking about La Monroe and Vandy, and I also assume he's not watching Vandy right now, who has the ball tied at 20 at Missouri with 5 minutes to go. That is far from a guaranteed win for Auburn. And by the way, Vandy's quarterback has a history in that stadium. So I don't think you can put that one in the win column. I mean, Pavia has them inside the 40 right now with a chance to actually pull a massive upset. I mean, that's a huge upset.
It would be probably playoff changing for Missouri.
Yeah.
With what they have left. If they end up 10-2, they start comparing their 10-2s to other people, that would be a bad loss. Likely throws them into the 9-3 at best neighborhood. To Bobby's point on
imagine real quick, Vandy getting this win done away, and at the end of the year, looking back, and that Georgia State loss late cost them a bowl. Like they win at Missouri, but they could beat Georgia State. That's why they miss a bowl game.
Well, with the transfer portal and everything, that's what college football is right now. There's no gimmies every week. So it's a roulette wheel. I understand that. Back to your Pavia point, and I know we're going to send you guys to the barn here in a minute, thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. Kyle will be buttoned up over there giving you a post-game show, and the whole crew throughout the night will be going all night long with reaction to you guys and breakdowns and things like that. Thebarnauburn.com. Go check it out. Shows are free and most times, and some content behind a paywall, premium content that starts at just $1. It's great coverage every day. Thebarnauburn.com, and basketball coverage already as well. Not that it's basketball season already.
That's not what you're saying, right?
Just pointing out every week they do basketball shows too, thebarnauburn.com. But to Bobby's point, and to your point about Diego Pavia playing Auburn again, like Missouri's getting a look at him for the first time today. Auburn got a first look at him last year. Getting a second look at him is not going to surprise Eugene Asante and some of those guys. Angles will be different. They'll know how he plays. I bet they're better against him this year than they were last year, because you look at the chunky monkey on tape, right? The little, he's chunky and he's doesn't look as agile. And then you get in the game and the guy just makes football plays. They'll know that this year. They won't take it for granted just by looks.
Yeah. I don't know that Missouri has today or not. I frankly have not been in on this game a lot. I was more on Arkansas, Auburn, and USC, Michigan. But you know what? To me, the real key is for Vandy. Clark Lee, I guess, has done a nice job this year, but they keep showing Jerry Kill on the sideline. That guy can flat coach. Yeah. And anywhere he is, he's got an impact on that team. He did it at Minnesota. He did it at New Mexico State last year with Pavia. And now he's doing it for Vandy. That guy's he's just an influence, man. The guy knows how to coach.
Is he an offensive mind like Clark Lee? I know
I think so. Yeah.
Is Jerry
yeah.
offensive?
Yeah. I think so. Big 3rd and 9 in this game as we do live play-by-play here. We're about to send you, as Jim said, to the barnauburn.com for all you Auburn fans.
Now we won't actually send you. This isn't like we're gonna punch a button. You stay right here. You'll have to leave this link.
That's right.
And go to the barnauburn.com.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to kick a very long field goal to try to take the lead here with 3:11. This is probably going to end up in a Vandy win or a Missouri win, the way this is shaping up. But our point there is Vandy is far from an easy out for anybody that's playing them this year, I think.
He's already hit one long one earlier in this game.
Yeah. Corey says Virginia Tech is a massive all caps disappointment. Massive disappointment for Virginia Tech. Kansas is, I mean, it's weird to say this, but Kansas is a big disappointment. Now 1-3 after a complete and total post-weather delay meltdown up in Morgantown today. I don't know how much of that you watched, Dunaway, but they fell apart after that rain delay.
I watched it. I did not go back for the rain delay, though.
Neither did Kansas.
Yeah, I was watching Auburn on one screen, USC, Michigan on another big screen, and then I was quad box on 2 other TVs. And didn't make it in there because I didn't go to ESPN News. I didn't want to change my quad box.
Vandy missed the field goal, so Missouri's about to drive for the win right here. That's how that's going to turn out. But that's a tough fault win for Missouri. Maybe they're not what we thought they were. Maybe Auburn isn't either. All right, any final thoughts before Kyle and the gang take over at thebarnauburn.com?
No, just stay on our platforms tonight as well. Not, the barnauburn.com is our platform too, but at Next Round on all the platforms, EG and Taylor are working hard on post game now. They'll be pushing that out. In fact, I'm supposed to edit up quickly a T-Will celebration. If you want to see how the former Auburn player reacted to winning back in Jordan-Hare Stadium, we'll have that video out shortly.
All right. People were asking why I had an SMU shirt on this morning and a TCU shirt this afternoon. I just changed shirts. I mean, there was really nothing behind it. I'm more SMU in the Iron Skillet battle than I am TCU, but I got both shirts. It's a comfortable shirt.
Yeah. I'm the Methodist one, so he's making me feel good this morning. He's a Christian. Not that we all are not. So he's throwing TCU on now because it's almost Sunday in the Brown House.
There you go. All right, here we go. It's thebarnauburn.com. Go over there. You can find them on social media, and you can find them on YouTube, and they will talk more about Auburn's loss to Arkansas. Just a devastating loss for the Tigers as they lose to Arkansas at Jordan-Hare. We'll have more on it Monday morning starting at 7 a.m. with Dunaway and Luganville on Monday Morning Live. Enjoy Oklahoma, Tennessee coming up next right here on ESPN ABC. We'll see you Monday on the